Hey guys, what's up? So I finally got my first tattoo. I actually got it 3 weeks after my 39th birthday. Getting a forearm tattoo is something that I've been thinking about for years now, but I never really fully committed to it. Until recently, I started researching different tattoo shops and I really was looking for the absolute best artists that were available. But the one thing that I was realizing was that the best artists are going to be booked months in advance, in some cases even up to a year in advance. One day I saw an Instagram ad that was announcing that an artist from Korea was going to be doing a 2-week guest spot at Black Serum starting in late October. The other thing was, when I saw this ad, the sample tattoo in that ad was this forearm tattoo with this skull and just so much going on, and I really like that, and I could almost even imagine that being the tattoo that I get. So I checked out that artist. His name is O.One. I even checked out the tattoo shop in Korea that he works at. It's called Blood Candy. Their work was really awesome, and it was just like a lot of black work, a lot of dark subject matter. I even came across this one astronaut tattoo that really struck a chord with me because it was unusual in the sense that the astronaut was holding primitive weapons. And I just like that weird mix of genres. And so in fact, I even sent that tattoo to O.One as like the tattoo that I wanted. And the cool thing about it was he did not just take that design and just do it. He improved upon it. He put his own spin on it, came up with his own like additions to it, and really fleshed out the whole idea and concept of the tattoo to the point that it surpassed the original design, and that was really impressive. Now on the day of, when I showed up, he came up with a new design that had the same elements. He had the astronaut suit, he had the spear, he had the axe, and that was it actually in his original sketch. Then he says to me, hey, well, what do you think about putting a tiger skull on top of the astronaut's helmet? And also, what do you think about maybe a necklace of bones or teeth? And I was like, oh shit, wow, this is really coming together. And not only that, but it's actually starting to kind of have like more to it than that original tattoo. In addition to that, he had like this circle in the background that he had drawn. And I was kind of like, oh, what's that circle about? He's like, oh, well, you know, it's just something to kind of put in the background, but also to kind of widen out the design overall and make it fit your forearm better, with the idea being that you know, like your forearm is narrow through here, but then you want the tattoo to kind of widen out where your forearm actually widens out, to just kind of give it a more aesthetic look to it. In addition to that, you have the circle line, but then the things that are sticking outside the circle, the eye is sort of drawn to those things that are like poking outside of the established boundary there. He ended up making that circle into more like a hoop, and then actually shading in like a gradient to it. Ultimately, the way the background came out, it's this very kind of ambiguous sort of background, but it still looks very cool because you look at it and it's almost like, is that a portal? Like, what is that? A celestial body, like a moon or something in the background? Kind of also sometimes looks almost like a giant dream catcher because the feathers on this spear kind of like line up. It was a stroke of genius on his part. So yeah, ultimately he took this design and he made a stencil of it, and he carefully placed it on my forearm and pushed it all down, and then waited like 20 minutes or something like that. And then came back and peeled it off, and then there was just like some ink of the outline of the stencil and the design on my arm. But yeah, to walk through the whole tattoo here, this whole helmet, like what he did with the glass on the face of the helmet is just amazing. Like, it just has this nice reflection on it. There's a bit of almost like a 3D sort of effect to it. This skull here on top is just a really well done skull with the teeth, the snout, and the eyes that all look super cool. And then you start going down into the suit, and this whole chest area is actually extremely detailed with a lot of intricate straps and things that are like all part of the suit. But even like the sleeves of the astronaut suit, like he bothered to make a seam here and just like all the little detail. The entire backpack is super detailed. He even made sure that one of the tubes on the backpack sort of breaks outside of the outer ring, and again, that's that all these different things that break outside of that ring, the spear coming through, the skull sticking out the top, but even this tubing of the backpack is kind of like popping out, and he even put like a little extra little piece on that thing, which is just like an interesting detail. Plus he called out that the ring that goes all around in the background, it's very dense lines here where there's not much going on, but back here where the backpack is, he spaced out the rings a little bit, and he explained to me that he wanted to provide some contrast. There's all this busyness, and so he wanted to make sure that this back loop here actually stood out from what it was next to. And I just love all those little things that he thought of. There's also a couple like antennas here at the bottom. He did a great job on the shading of this back tube, and he also did a little cool trick with the left leg here where he just like left one piece untattooed, and that's just like my actual skin poking through there. The fact that he got the idea to make the handle of the axe a bone, I love it. Even the spear, there's a wood texture to the entire spear. In addition to that, he's got like this extra little handle. Then at the top here, he's got the spear head, but he's got where it's affixed. And then he even put a little bit of feathers and kind of embellishments to the end of the spear there. And then also, speak of embellishments, towards the bottom here, he has this bit of fabric hanging off of it too. It's almost kind of like a ceremonial sort of spear. It definitely has like most spiritual meaning to this particular warrior. All right guys, so that is the tattoo. It was a pleasure and an honor to be tattooed by such a gifted artist.